Let me tell you about our guest tonight. First up is the owner of Face TV, the host of New Zealand's longest running talk show, The Beat Goes On, and lead singer of The Rumour, fantastic group back in the 70s. His name, Gerard Smith. Guest number 2 tonight is a marvellous magician with a sharp sense of humour. You're going to meet Mick Peck. I've had so many emails from friends and associates within the industry, the entertainment industry of New Zealand, thanking me for putting on this show to give a little bit of time to New Zealand variety entertainers. But I can't take the credit. I've been very fortunate. Now, the man who owns Face Television and who was a rock star in the 60s with The Rumour is the man that asked me if I would like to do this. And who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? So it's not me that's the philanthropist, it's him. Ladies and gentlemen, Gerard Smith.
Guy, thank you very much. Thank you very much. No, you didn't have to do this, Guy. This is very nice.
I know I didn't have to do it, but I just would like people to know how the show started, whose brainwave was it? When did you think of doing a show like this?
Well, look, what happened, Guy, was that there's two parts of entertainment in New Zealand, as you well know. There's, of course, the musicians. They get a lot of the attention, don't they? But then there's another part, and that's the ventriloquists, the magicians, the comedians, the jugglers, and they're all lumped into one group called the variety artists. They don't really get a lot of hearing, do they? So
no, very few get the opportunity to actually be on television.
So we had young Shane, who just turned 70. Young Shane, we'll call him. He's doing a wonderful job with rocking the planet.
I really enjoy that.
But leaving another half of the whole industry unattended to. So that's when it occurred to me, we need to look at the variety artists of New Zealand. And who's one of the best variety artists in New Zealand? None other than Guy Cater.
Oh,
wow, yes.
I
made that decision. I said, Guy's our man. So thank you for being enthusiastic, putting the effort into it. And I know you have a long drive every time you do a show, so we are also very appreciative of what you are doing too, guys. So.
But when you come right down to it, how many variety artists get a television show with their name on it?
Yes, exactly.
So it's not something I would turn down.
Well, I've been counting one.
One, yes.
The Guy Cater Show.
And of course, the opportunity for so many variety artists to come on the show.
Yes, exactly.
To have a nice little package put together with themselves. We learn about them, we see them working. How many?
Well, I was going to say what we're interested in. Sorry, Guy.
Yes.
Just that. How easy is it to be a variety artist in New Zealand? Can you make a living? Could you ever make a fortune out of it? Probably not, but you can make a decent living out of it. So in the end, if you wanted to make a fortune, you'd open a gold mine or something like that.
Exactly. Yes.
So it's going to be a labour of love, isn't it? The people that stick to being a variety artist, really do it because it's in their heart. This is what I want to do.
It's their passion. Yes.
And Guy, that's the story of your life too.
Well, all of us, we've all gone through hard times, good times, and hard times again. And in a country of 4 million people, it's very hard to make a living, particularly as a variety artist. And maybe with a bit of exposure, it will help them.
Well, that's what we're aiming to do.
Exactly.
And of course, we'd love to get some award system going to pay honour to these people who've worked all their lives. You meet them every day out on the circuit, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. And you go all over New Zealand, don't you?
I do indeed, yes.
Now, I'm going to make an apology here, Guy. I've been doing The Beat Goes On, my program, for 8 years now, and we look at baby boomers. And of course, I'm so used to asking the questions that it's hard for me to be quiet.
Well, you go right ahead, because The Beat Goes On. That's what New Zealand's longest running talk show.
Yes, it is. 330 shows now. We're up to.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You're making New Zealand history. You realise that?
Never thought of that.
as you did back in the 60s with The Rumour.
Yeah. Now, don't age me here, Guy. The 70s.
Oh, the 70s. What did I say? Did I say the 60s?
Well, no. Well, let's start at the beginning. Yes, there's no doubt the group called The Rumour did start in the 60s, and we went through that wonderful period from 1964 through to 1968, when the 60s, it was buzzing, wasn't it? Remember the buzz of the 60s?
Oh, yes, I do.
Well, every week we'd be learning a brand new hit song, and they're still played today.
Yes.
So that was a great period. And we were in Hamilton. We were playing at a place called the Starlight Ballroom and all around the Waikato. But after that sort of finished, we wandered around in the wilderness a bit, and my brother, Shade Smith, started writing songs. And then, coincidentally, there's a program called Studio One was starting too.
I remember.
Wow, yes. Now, my brother, Shade, came around one night. I was living in Mount Eden at the time, and he said, "I've got a song to show you." A song? Ooh, okay, let's have a listen. L'amour et l'enfant de la liberté. What a wonderful song.
Beautiful song.
And I said, "That's it. That is a wonderful song." Rushed into the studio, got it recorded. Ray Columbus was our manager at the time. Thank you, Ray. He did a great job for us.
Yes.
And a big thanks to Chris Bourne, too, who was the producer of Studio One. We get on to the television, and the rest is history. Wow. #1 on the charts for 6 weeks. And yeah,
Well, it was a
never forget
magnificent
that.
song.
1971, that was.
71,
yeah.
yes, of course. I was married in 73, but you had Holy Morning out
I
then.
think you were only 10 then.
I
weren't
was
you,
only
Guy?
10, yes. Tell me, where did Shade get the French influence?
Well,
How
he
that happen?
did tell me, he said that he was reading a book by Eric Fromm, E-R-I-C, Eric Fromm, F-R-O-M-M, and he noticed this line in the book, L'amour et l'enfant de la liberté, called Love is the Child of Freedom. And it still applies today. Even
it
back in
does,
1971, even back in 1871, love is the child of freedom. You know, but there's another saying too, that if you let it go, let it go free, and if it'll
If
come
it comes
back.
back, yes.
So
If it doesn't,
it's
kill it,
basically
yes.
if it doesn't come back, kill it.
it. So Shade was the writer and you were the singer.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the rumour, to this day, when I mention you and the rumour, everybody seems to remember it.
Well, that's good, isn't it? Yeah, it's great.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. I do like that. That's nice to have that
Oh,
because
yes, indeed.
because as you age, of course, more and more people forget that you ever existed. And I remember some years ago, about 10 years ago, this new show came into New Zealand called New Zealand Idol, which is the equivalent of Studio One. So here's my grandchildren watching it. They're about 10, and they're totally into the show. And I came in the room and said, "Oh, your granddad won that show. This show once."
Well, yes.
Well, you? I couldn't conceive that Granddad had ever been on a show. That was New Zealand Idol.
Well, maybe they could have a look at this show
Yeah.
and watch a clip of the rumour.
What? Look, we've got a little clip from the sometime back, 1975. I think it was about 10 years later. Television New Zealand had its 25th anniversary.
Right.
They gathered all the artists from all around New Zealand, and everybody had to go for about 1 minute. So we've got one remaining clip from that time. That's all that's left after all that television
Oh,
we
that's
did.
sad,
yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah. Nothing from Studio One or Come
yes.
On or Happening or any
Well,
of those
they were
days.
using acetate, weren't they? And
Yeah.
they didn't keep it. Let's watch it.
Okay, sure.
Here we go.
Yeah, let's watch it.
Once was a time when I felt in my mind that I'd never give way to you. 'Cause all that I wanted was to have you caught it, but you said our love would be blue. L'amore est l'enfant de la liberté. You tried please to understand. L'amore est l'enfant de la liberté. Love is the child of freedom. Love is the child of freedom.
Well, that was fabulous. And for those that have never seen the rumour before, that's what it was all about.
That's yes, and I was a bit thinner then. You might notice.
I was wondering whether to mention that or not.
People liked me so much that I decided to make more of me.
Make more of you.
Never worked.
More to hug. Yeah.
More to hug. Yes.
So, how long have you had Face TV?
Oh, about 2 years now.
2 years,
It used to
yeah.
be called Triangle Television.
Right.
And we took over about 2 years ago. And we are the only station in New Zealand on the Sky Network that you can, if you've got a program to make or you want to make a program, or you can play it on Face TV. It's a great public service to the people of New Zealand.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
You let out the studio, you've got the cameras, you've got all the facilities, and it must be fairly easy for somebody to come along because they'll give the idea what they want and you organise it for them.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, it all started with The Beat Goes On. The Beat Goes On,
Yes.
and it started with that one show, and it started in in Ellerslie in an ordinary house. We just converted the living room into a
Yes.
studio, and we did that for a couple of years. Then we shifted to where we are today, and it's just grown and grown and grown and grown.
Yes,
So,
it has.
And in 100 years' time, it'll be at the same size now.
You'll probably be able to afford another blue shirt.
Yeah, people ask me, why do you wear the same blue shirt all the time? Well, what happens, of course, and
He's got about 12 of them.
it means that, we record different sections at different times. So
Yes.
if you've got a different shirt, we can't put that in that program, you see, because we're wearing a different colour shirt. So we keep the same, so
Just continuity.
In the end, it makes it look as though it's a 1 hour show and it all happened at that particular
Yes.
thing. I should be giving the secret away, but that's the idea of the shirt, wearing the same shirt all the
So
time.
do you do the editing as well?
I have done the editing. I've worked at the hot editing stove for years, but now we have a host of young guys who are very good, and basically all I do now is just check it to make sure that everything's fine, give it a bit of a polish.
Well, the technology's changed
Yeah.
so much now
Yeah.
that if you're over about 30, you don't understand it anyway.
Yes, exactly, yeah. So, yeah, that has been a wonderful thing about, if I could just say that in the world of television, this is a bit technical, but in 1987, around about that time, I was 40 years old, when we started off in the television world, to build a studio was, a half-decent studio was $300,000.
Yes.
That's just the studio alone, where you do all the editing, not the place where you film it. Today, any Tom, Dick or Harry can go and buy a $2,000 computer, buy himself a Adobe editing program. He's in the business for $2,000. Isn't that wonderful? That gives everybody a chance.
Yes, it does.
But the funny thing about life is, even though that exists, people, you're either interested in it or you're not. So
Yes, yes.
swags of people aren't doing it, of course. Yeah.
And editing is a lot more difficult than a lot of people might think.
Yeah, it takes a lot of,
Yes.
because
So-
I see these young guys, when I know how to edit, and when I see these young guys struggling, to learn it, and I think, gosh, what I think is so simple, of course, is not that simple, you see. So,
Jared, before we finish, I want to personally thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. It's bringing in so many different acts. The
Yes.
acts we've got lined up are exciting. A lot of them are friends of mine. It's just a wonderful opportunity. But what
and that's what I love too, because I must say to our audience that I don't know these people. You see, they're out there, they're working hard.
Yes.
And what a pleasure it is to meet them. Wow. And then you've got a little bit of information about them, but not a tremendous amount. But then you meet them in person,
draw
and,
them out.
and suddenly they're your friends.
Yes,
which is
yes.
wonderful. So you're actually doing me a favour.
Well, that's
my Christmas card list is growing.
it is. So what of the future?
The future, more of the same.
More of the
More of the
same.
same. I always say, my favourite saying, onwards and upwards.
Right.
We're not sure exactly where we're going upwards, but we can only go there.
Well, I'm just so thrilled to be sitting in this seat, and I thank you so much for the opportunity on behalf of me and all the variety artists of New Zealand.
Well, thank you, Guy. Thank you for taking on the challenge of creating a show for all the variety artists. It needed to be done, and you stood up and took the responsibility. Thank you very much.
I did, and I'm so happy.
When are we going to have the medal ceremony? We need some music and drum rolls and...
We do indeed. Yeah, we'll have to.
Put a medal on you.
We'll have a look at all our guests and then organise a big function. And yes,
We'll do that.
We'll do that.
Thank you, Guy.
Thanks, Gerard. Thank you, Gerard. Now we're back with the second part of the Guy Cater Show, and tonight we're going to be talking to a marvellous magician, Mick Peck.
Well, thanks, Guy. Great to be here. Well, the person I'm going to be tonight has had a lot of hits on the hit parade. They were most popular in the mid to late 1980s, and this person is known for wearing outlandish clothing on stage. So tonight, Guy, I'm going to be Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah, I think you're in the wrong show.
Yeah? Is this The Bachelor?
Not The Bachelor.
I'm wearing mine.
No. Oh, you're wearing, yes,
Cool.
beautiful.
Class, mate.
No, sorry, mate. This is my show.
Is it?
And I interview good, wonderful and talented New Zealand variety artists.
Who cancelled?
I may have made a mistake.
Yeah, who cancelled?
Yes.
Should have got. I tell you what, you should have got John Rolls on your show, because if you had John Rolls on your show, a lot of people would tune in to watch John Rolls. Not least of all would be John Rolls.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
No, we can't have John because he is averse to hair dye. And
Is
I would
he?
have a problem with that.
You're not
yes.
meant to mention the hair dye.
I
It's-
always mention the hair
it's
dye.
natural dye.
Always, yeah. Very
Yeah.
natural, yes.
Is it down? Down?
I want to talk about you.
Okay.
I mean, it's fun, but you are the Secretary-Treasurer of the BAM, Brotherhood of Auckland Magicians.
Yes.
You're the President in charge of Vice at the Variety Artists Club. I beg your pardon, Vice
Vice
President.
President, yes.
At the Variety Artists Club
Underneath
Museum.
our friend Tom Sharplin,
Exactly.
who's watching at home. Now, Tom, you must get some gigs. You turn the TV off, go and do some gigs.
You're also an award-winning magician.
Apparently, yeah.
How did all this happen? Where did it start?
Well, I have a memory guy, early memory. I turned on the TV and I saw David Copperfield vanishing into the Bermuda Triangle. That was quite cool. And then Paul Daniels, big inspiration to me when I was young. He did the trick with the big kettle and he poured
All different drinks.
out. People call out wine, he pours wine. They say brandy, he pours out brandy.
Yes.
And I remember watching that as a kid and I thought, oh, this is interesting. Let's get into this magic thing. So, it was
Because of the alcohol.
yeah, and it was all downhill from there.
Of
basically.
course,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Mick, you're a member of the London Magic Circle. How did that happen?
Well, you have to know someone. Friends in high places. You've seen that guy Dynamo on TV?
Uh-huh.
It's funny. He can walk on water and he can like levitate, but he can't get over a speech impediment. No, it's Magic Circle. It's actually quite difficult to join. There's some magic
Yes.
clubs that you can just send your money in and they sign you up. But Magic Circle of London, you have to send them a big resume of all you've done in magic, and I had to tell them what I've done with magic clubs over the years and what sort of shows I do. It was quite in depth, and I didn't hear from them for like a month, and I thought, oh, they must not like me, but it came through and I was accepted. So
They must have been drinking out of Paul's kettle.
funny kettle, yeah, that's the one.
No, well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And I know we're here to have fun as well as promote you. Now, you've had an awesome award.
I have had an awesome award.
Yes.
You've been reading my Wikipedia page there, Guy.
I definitely have.
Yes, it's-
And your website. Beautiful website, by the way.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Oh, very good, thank you. We'll put a
Little thing up.
there.
Yes.
That's called marketing, folks.
Yes.
Awesome Service Award. It's nominated by happy customers, and the winners are decided upon by Michael Barnett from the Auckland Chamber of Commerce. I did a show for a lady, very lovely lady. She wrote a nice letter saying, "Oh, Mick did a great job," and so and they gave me the Awesome Service Award. So very, very proud of that one.
Well, I think that's wonderful. So your mum can write quite
She
nice
can,
letters.
yes. She said, "Oh, Mick's the best magician in the world."
Yes.
and he's very good looking, and he has a red hanky. It's very, very nice. It's shiny shoes.
You must be very busy with all these magic clubs that you're involved in, and I mean on an administrative level.
I am. We've just last week we did a big show. It's called the Magic Moments Family Comedy Magic Show. We do that every year. It's a fundraising show for the Brotherhood of Auckland Magicians. We have a whole lot of magicians. We jam them all into a little space. We stir them all up, and we see what happens on stage. Lot of fun.
And of course, you're involved with the Variety Artists Club.
Yes, Variety Artists Club, Vice President of the Variety Artists Club.
And you've just had a big concert as well.
We have. We did the amazing VAC variety show. We had John Rolls, Tina Cross, some guy called Mick Peck who let the side down, and great show. Great show. Lot of fun.
We're talking about you. We're talking about magic. You're answering some of the questions, but we haven't seen any magic.
No, we haven't seen any magic.
I think you should do a little magic.
What's the fee, Guy? What's
We could discuss that later. It'll probably disappear.
the fee?
The fee, yes.
Well, I said, Guy, I'd come here for free, but the tricks are extra.
Oh, I see. Well, we can certainly work on that.
Okay.
Take a check.
I wasn't going to do a trick, Guy, but just for you. I like it. I picked this up in the kitchen out the front. I remember in the 80s there was that program was called That's Incredible.
I do remember.
And there are all these guys on there who claim to be able to change the consistency of metal.
People like Uri Geller.
Yeah, Uri Geller. They could like look at a spoon and do weird stuff. I've been working on it.
Really?
Yeah. Concentrate on the spoon, Guy. I too will concentrate on the spoon.
And our combined effort should achieve what?
I'm going to try and get the spoon to move.
Oh,
Okay.
wonderful.
Now, Guy, be honest with me. Can you see that spoon move?
No.
What about now?
Yes. There we go.
Yeah? Are we impressed? Okay, one more time. Okay, concentrate on the spoon. I promise you it will move, okay?
Okay.
Watch the spoon. Everyone at home, concentrate on the spoon. This one, not that one. Okay. Yeah.
Whoa.
Are we good?
Now, was that magic? You have to decide. I think it was very good.
Thank you, Guy. Thank you very much. Yeah. But here's the thing, though. You're not impressed. I said that I was going to change the consistency of the metal of the spoon.
You did.
And I guess something happened because the spoon is now a fork.
Ah, now that's magic,
Yeah?
Mick. That is magic.
That's a forking good trick.
That's a
Ask me another question.
I'm going to ask you another question. One of the things with variety artists in a country the size of New Zealand with our small population, can you make a living?
You can make a living. Yeah, good question. Of course, there's two words to show business. There's show and business. So if there's no business, then there's no show. So as well as having a tight show, you need to be able to market yourself. You need to have good customer skills, very, very important. People need to like you, which I'm still working on.
That must be difficult. Yeah.
But yeah, if you have something unique, if you're willing to work on it, then yes, you can make a living.
Do you do self-promoting or do you use agencies or everything?
I use a bit of everything. I actually use, it's called the onion method. It's a very, very famous, have you ever heard of the onion method?
No, I haven't.
It's called stay at home in bed and wait for the phone to ring. It's very good. And
Often doesn't work.
well, it seems to work okay for me because I wear the,
Oh, because of the red handkerchief, of course.
that's the main thing.
Yes.
Yeah, get yourself a red hanky, Guy.
Now, most entertainers have either a level they wish to achieve or a dream that they wish to come true.
Yes.
Have you got anything like that?
Well, my dreams come true, Guy. I've always wanted to be on your show. And I'm here, and it's a bit,
Do you know,
it's a bit emotional for me, Guy.
Yes.
I hope I'm not covering the microphone there. Are we good?
I'm quite touched by that.
Are you?
And I think you're a little touched as well. Yes,
Yes, I have been touched, yes.
Yes, yeah. Oh, I'm not surprised. So the future?
The
So
future.
Mick Peck?
The future, well, can we get serious for a minute here, Guy? Are we doing jokes? Or? I got into magic as a kid. I did a lot of kid shows, and I've been doing that now for about 10 years. I'm moving more into the corporate sleight of hand stuff now. Not to say that I don't like doing kid shows, I still like doing kid shows, but maybe moving away more into the corporate walk around. So if anyone's watching, they want me to come and walk around your banquet, irritate all your staff, I'm happy to come and do that for you.
Despite all the jokes, you're very, very skilled. There must have been a lot of hours spent working. And I know you didn't want to get too serious, but you do have skills that people absolutely love.
Well, thank you, Guy.
Yeah.
Thank you for
do.
noticing.
Yes. Despite all the jokes, it's been a real pleasure having you on, Mick. Now I move forward.
Yes.
Because we're so far away,
Yes.
and now we
Oh,
shake hands.
no.
Look at that.
Thank you,
Like
Guy.
that.
Great to be here. God bless you.
Mick Peck. Well, that's our show for tonight. I'd like to thank my special guests, Gerard Smith and Mick Peck. I'd like to invite you back here to see the Guy Cater Show, same time, same channel, next week. And don't forget, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. Good night.